production of what we now know as the first stone tool. We call it the Lamechway tool. It was just west of Lake Turkana. This was found. We've not only found the tool, but we found the butchered remains of scavenged animals. So we find the tool, and we know for sure they're hacking on bones. Again, they're not hunting, right? They're scavenging the kills that were made by predators. And I think for everybody listening, and I'm sure they might already know this, but we understand predatory behavior on the African savanna by watching modern correlates of the ancestors. So the animals that were running around 3.5 million years ago on the savanna were not lions, and they were the ancestors to the modern day lions, just like, you know, they're our ancestors as well. So their ancestors, who were some nasty, crazy predators, were out there taking down animals, jumping on them, using their huge canines to rip these carcasses apart, dive into the inside and access the most bioavailable nutrient-dense parts, the blood, the fat, and the organs. And when they leave these carcasses on the savanna, these animals that are biologically equipped to go in and scavenge, things like the ancestors to modern day hyenas and buzzards, will go in, rip off flesh, and do their thing. The problem was our ancestors were not biologically equipped to join that party. They could watch it as they're munching on some termites, but they couldn't go do it themselves. When they created the stone tool, it provided them access. They were no longer limited to their own physical limitations. They could go out there and hack off huge hunks of meat, bring them back to the elderly, the young, the sick, eat it themselves in safety somewhere else. But what I think is a real big takeaway from this is that when they start introducing meat into their diet, we don't see huge biological changes. We see a little bit. There's a little bit of body size growth, a little bit of brain size growth, but we don't see these massive changes. The massive changes happen when our ancestors start hunting and also control fire. And the difference between scavenging and hunting is the hunters have first access to the most nutrient-dense parts of the animal. And that happens in 2 million years. Yeah.
And let's emphasize that's the blood, the organs, and the fat, right? So that's...
Period. Meat has been in our diet for 3.5 million years. The entire animal has been in our diet for 2 million years. And we see the biggest growth in body and brain size when we start introducing animals into our diets. Responses to vegan interpretations of the importance of vegetables in the past. Number one, you know, sometimes I hear things like, well, we've been eating vegetables for 5 million years, actually before that, millions and millions and millions of years. Yeah, but they were small, their brains were small, and they had a high level of what we call sexual dimorphism, right? The males were a lot larger than the females, and we think that's the case because the increased nutritional need of females when they're doing, from an evolutionary perspective, the most important thing that female members of a species can be doing is carrying a baby to full term, giving birth to a healthy baby, and nursing that baby until they can take care of it. I mean, that has to happen or else the species dies out. And there's massive increases in nutritional needs during those periods of a woman's life. So if the thinking is, if they start out with lower nutritional requirements in an environment where they maybe can't get all the food that when those nutritional requirements skyrocket, they can handle that. But what we see when you start introducing animals into the diet and these incredibly nutrient-dense, bioavailable foods that our bodies don't have to work that hard to get access to the nutrients in, that we start seeing a reduction in sexual dimorphism to the point where human females, yes, on average, are smaller than human males, but nothing like they were in the past.
Annotated and summarized, easy to share with loved ones. The description below the title for this video has these summary points.